Hello, hello, hello. Hi, everybody. How are you? Welcome to the Kathie J Show. I'm your host. I'm Kathie J. It is so good to see you. I say it every time, but you know what? I'm thrilled to get to hang out with you. Anytime we get to be together, it's a joy for me. I hope it is for you too. If you want more of me, you can always go to my YouTube channel, Kathie J. You can also find me online. We have a webpage, KathieJShow.com. Right there, you can find the viewer emails where you can talk to me right there, talk about our shows. And of course, on social media, just look for Kathie J. Okay, everybody. Here's the thing. I want you to stop for a minute and ask yourself, am I comfortable in my life? Am I maybe a little too comfortable in my life? Are my relationships cool? Do I just kind of let things sail now? Or should I take a little bit more charge of everything going on? As we're heading into summer, the last thing you want to do is take charge. A lot of us just want to coast right through until September. But I'm telling you, that's not the way to live. Please welcome to the show our guest. He's been here before. We're so happy to have him back. Len Herstein, yay! The author of Be Vigilant, Strategies to Stop Complacency, Improve Performance, and Safeguard Your Success. All very important things. Thank you, Len.
Absolutely. My pleasure.
All right, so this is the book. It is amazing. It's about everything in your life. You just can't be complacent. Mm-hmm. So what is complacency?
Well, you know what? The thing is, most people don't understand complacency.
No,
we
don't.
use this word all the time.
Yes.
You'll hear it, if you're watching sports or you'll see it in the news, especially with what's been going on, last couple of years. But most people, if they had to come up with one word that they thought complacency meant, would say laziness.
Yeah, right.
But complacency is not laziness, and here's the difference.
Okay.
Laziness is a choice. So laziness is, I have the ability to do something and I choose not to do it.
Agreed.
Right? So I have the
Yes.
ability to clean the house, but I choose to sit on the couch and watch TV.
Agreed. Right.
That's laziness. Complacency is very rarely a choice. Complacency lurks in the background. It waits for the right opportunities to kind of strike. And the right opportunities is when we get successful and we get overconfident and we get unaware of the potential dangers that are out there, we stop seeing things. So sometimes when things feel like they just came out of left field, they really came out of a place we weren't looking.
You just weren't looking.
Yep.
But the problem that I have is we work hard to get that right relationship, to get that right job, so that we can kind of coast and be complacent, right?
Yeah.
Isn't that the goal?
Well, the
to
goal,
get comfortable, to not fight every day, whether it's our job or our people, right?
Sure.
So that's a choice to stay there. You're saying that the choice should never be that. The choice should always be to be aware of what's going on around you.
Yeah, so it's not about like we have to always be striving for something more, right?
Okay,
it's not about being
climbing a ladder somewhere,
dissatisfied and being like unfulfilled and always like trying to reach and reach and reach and reach, because everybody has a different definition of what success is.
And we make that choice as to what our definition is, right?
There's no wrong decision there. The thing is that what happens is when we become overconfident, right? We become unaware.
Yeah.
So what this is all about is, it's not about becoming paranoid, right? The opposite of complacency is not paranoia. It's not always looking over our shoulder.
Right. At any moment, something's going to go down.
The anvil's dropping, right?
Right.
No, it's not about that. The opposite of complacency is vigilance. And the difference is paranoia is based in fear, walking around afraid all the time of what could happen.
At any moment, something could happen. Right.
Vigilance is based in awareness.
But vigilance is also at any moment something could happen.
No, but what you want to do is you want to be aware of the fact that it could happen, and then you can make choices. Maybe it's okay. Maybe you're fine with that happening.
Okay.
But at least you understand the situation you're in.
So a simple example, vigilant at night, complacency at night.
Yeah.
My car is parked near the end of the parking lot. I'm putting keys in my hands. I'm living in fear of my reaction, whereas I could have been more vigilant and just parked up closer, parked under a light, right at that kind of stuff. Like, are you saying don't get... Right? Like, don't let your complacency put yourself into something where all of a sudden you're going to be a victim.
You might park your car there 1,000 times and nothing happens, and you start feeling confident. You start feeling like, I live in a safe neighborhood.
We all do. A lot of us have the same
me.
spot every day, the same little couple of spots we choose from.
So you get overconfident, right? You start thinking. So now when you're aware of that, overconfidence, when you're aware of what's going on, you might carry a flashlight with you.
Okay.
You might make sure you're on your cell phone when you're walking through, so it looks like you're talking to somebody.
That's what I like to hear. Okay, so when we come back, Len's going to give us more of that kind of fun stuff. We'll be right back. Ramos Law is an official partner of the Kathie J Show. He's a medical doctor and a lawyer. Ramos Law, what makes us different makes us better. Welcome back to the Kathie J Show. We got a lot of questions for our author today. This is Len Herstein, yay! The author of Be Vigilant. This is his book, everybody. You can find it at lenherstein.com as well as Amazon. Right?
Yep.
Are you on Amazon?
Amazon, everywhere you might buy a book online.
Everywhere you buy it. But I'm telling you guys, you have to buy it because you just don't think about how complacent you get in every part of your life. Before the break, we were talking about just a simple example. You park in the same spot every day. You get used to the fact that nothing's ever happened to your car. It never gets broken into. But that's the problem, right?
Yeah, that's where we get overconfident. That's where we start thinking that we call this survivorship bias.
Okay.
Right? The more success we have, the more we make it past a certain, threshold or a gate, right? Our gate is we've gotten home safely.
Yeah.
The more we do that, we feel like everything we did caused that. We get confused between causation and correlation.
Yes, we do.
Right? And so we start thinking, well, everything I did made the fact that I'm safe, so I'm just going to keep doing that.
I'm living my life like it's golden and everything's working out. Every
Sure.
decision I make is the right choice.
Right.
You're saying I'm not even aware of the things that I'm creating that I could be a victim of.
Yeah, we might have survived survive is a strong word.
Right.
We might have gotten through that because of luck, right? Because of happenstance, because of things went right when they could have gone wrong, right?
Right, totally. Like I wanted to ask you. You said being on the phone, walking out to your car. I would think that's the wrong thing to do because now you look distracted to somebody that's coming up behind you to rob you or to hit you or whatever. Take your car.
Right. So what I was talking about was being on the phone, but kind of fake being on the phone.
Okay.
Right?
So what am I saying?
So you're saying nice and loud that, hey, I'll see you in a bit. I'm just walking through the parking lot
Here
right now.
I am at 1075 South Wadsworth. Right. There's a guy, nice man with a blue jacket. He's about 5'10". What do you? So you're trying to let that person be aware of anybody around you.
Yeah. When it comes to crime stuff, right? The overriding principle is that criminals want the least path of resistance, right? They want the easiest mark.
So that's why I would think me being on the phone would be it. But you're saying by me putting it out there, now the criminal's like, this person, when I attack them, their phone's going to fall. Somebody knows that they just got attacked in this parking lot.
Yeah, listen, it all depends, right? Because if you've got your head buried, if you're like my kids walking around with their heads buried in their phone texting, obviously not paying attention, that sends a different signal than if you got your head up, you're looking around, you're talking, right?
Yes, you're right. You're absolutely right.
So,
okay, and do I give eye contact to, like when I'm passing somebody on a trail or something? A lot of people don't want to give eye contact, but I do. Am I inviting someone to want to hurt me if I give them eye contact, or is it the other way around?
Yeah, I mean, my opinion is that I always give eye contact.
Yeah.
Number one, I think it's just a polite thing to do.
I agree. Yeah.
Right? And
right.
It's, just treat people with respect and acknowledge them. But number two, the more you acknowledge them, the more you've now become a real person.
Yes.
Right?
Right.
And you're not just, a mark walking down the street.
Exactly. So overconfidence is something that we all live. I mean, in the simplest
in every
ways,
aspect
right?
of our lives.
And now that the summer is here, a lot of us are overconfident about leaving our windows open when we go to work and stuff. There's a lot of different things. So when we come back, we're going to continue the conversation about how summer is maybe not the best thing for us because we get a little lazy, not make the right choices.
Not lazy.
I know he hates that
unaware.
word. That's
we
why
become
I used
unaware.
We become unaware. We'll be right back. Kathie J. Oakwood Homes is an official partner of the Kathie J Show. Oakwood Homes, building happiness. Welcome back to the Kathie J Show. This half hour, we're talking about staying safe, being vigilant in your life. Len Herstein here, yay, our author. He's been on the couch a couple times with us, always wanting to remind us, be vigilant in our own lives. This is his book, everybody. You can find it on Amazon, wherever books are sold. Now, Len, summertime is here, and this is a real dangerous time for us to let our guard down.
Sure.
Okay, and so when it comes to family and kids and dating, I mean, like there's a lot of new dates happening because the weather's nice. There's a lot of concerts. We're doing everything right now. The summer's here. When it comes to our families, what do we need to be vigilant about?
Well, so there's in the book I talk about 10 specific strategies you can use to stay vigilant, to stay aware, to stay in the moment, and all those things. They're all applicable to business as they are to family.
Which I love because it's it's how you hold yourself and the boundaries you put on you, and everything around you just falls into place, right?
So let me give you a couple of easy ones that you can start doing right away. One is this idea of being threat aware. of understanding where your threats come from. We have a hard time sometimes understanding where could the dangers come from because we don't spend time thinking about it, right?
Right.
So, in law enforcement, you think about it all the time. Where could those threats come from? At home, we get comfortable, we stop, and as soon as things go right, we start forgetting about what went wrong.
The kids start leaving their bikes outside all the time.
It's things
Windows are down.
It's things like personal safety, right? It's things like, knowing where our kids are. It's things like understanding where those threats can come from online, and who our kids talking to online. It's about understanding, a lot of times, the threats can come from things that sometimes pop up and sometimes go away. Mental health issues, right? So like mental health issues, a lot of times we're in the moment and it's a big deal. And then as soon as things get a little bit better, we kind of forget about it.
We have success with it, then we forget about it.
We forget about it because now things are comfortable again until it pops up again. But we haven't dealt with it in between, and so it becomes more likely to pop up.
That's such a good point. You were also saying, speaking about the online, you just went through it recently with your 15-year-old daughter.
Yes.
Yeah, she was like, I'm going to meet a friend. You were like, who's this friend? I just met him online. Red flag. But at least she was honest with you, so that's good that you as a parent have that communication. But then what did you do as a parent that the rest of us need to do as a parent to see if that person was real?
Well, the first thing I did is I had to understand who this friend was.
Right.
So when she said she's going to go meet a friend, I want to understand who's this friend because I need to know who it is. You'd be surprised how many parents don't even know the names of the kids that their kids are hanging out with.
They just know their handle. It's Squiggy Boy 29.
Right. Well, who's that? Who's that,
Where
right?
does he live? Right. Oh, here's his photo. Is that really him?
Right.
Okay.
So number one was understanding, like, who is this friend and where did this friend pop up from? Well, okay, I met this friend on Instagram. Okay, well, now we got to understand, I don't mind you hanging out with new people, but we have to know what is his real name, where does he live, what's his phone number, who do we know in real life that also knows this kid in real life?
You went to all these questions and your 15-year-old teenager
100%.
She's stuck in there with you.
She
okay, because a lot of them would go, Dad, I don't want to blah, blah, blah. Right? Okay, so and then you found out he was a real boy, it was all safe, and you let her go.
Yeah.
But then you had all the contact information.
Right.
Okay, see, that's very important. A lot of parents don't want to upset their kid for their safety.
Right.
Why is that?
Well, because we don't like conflict, right?
But you even, like, I remember what you said about your kids' phones. Like, I pay that bill, I can grab it whenever I want and go through it. You're so confident and parental with your kids, which is the way we all should be. But we don't feel that way. We don't want to rock the boat with our kids.
I think what's happened over time is, the trend in parenting has been to be more of a friend.
Totally.
Right?
Right.
And for me, I think it's more important to be a parent than a friend. It doesn't mean you can't be a friend. But when they're at odds with each other, the more important role is the parent role.
Agreed.
Right? So I'm okay with them being upset with me. I'm okay with them being angry with me and, storming off to their room and doing what they have to do. I'm okay with that because I'm confident enough in our long-term relationship that I'm okay with this short-term strife because I know it's for the right reason.
You're all about transparency. That's one of your big things. Like you're saying you are with your kids. Like they know you've been transparent from the beginning. I'm going to be in your stuff, but I'm going to also let you make your own choices and try to create your own life. Okay, so transparency is very important for all of us, even to ourselves, to the people around us. Why is that so important? A lot of times people don't want to let people know what they're up to.
Well, it all comes down to trust.
Okay.
Right? So, we live in a world now where we believe what we see.
Yes.
Right?
Right.
And when we don't see it, when information is withheld, we have this tendency to fill in the gaps with the worst possible answers.
Well, that's why they're not telling us, because we're all getting rabies shots.
They're trying to pull one over on me, right?
Exactly.
They're trying to hide something from me.
We immediately go to a conspiracy theory.
Right. And that's what will happen. If you leave information gaps, people will fill it in with the worst possible answers. Right? Especially when there's a lack of trust. Right? Even if you're not leaving out information, we've talked about this before. If you get to the point in your relationship where, you walk downstairs in the morning and you say to your significant other, good morning, and they're like, what do you mean? Right? There's a lack of trust there, right? There's like, that you're trying to say something? Like, what happened? What happened?
You have a very angry spouse. If you said good morning and they come off like that.
It happens. Not in my house, but it happens.
Right. It does happen. You're like, what did I miss? What's going on with your life?
So you want to make sure that you are providing that information. One of the things that we talk about during the break is this idea of articulating the why, being able to articulate the why. Because a lot of times when there's a power dynamic, right? When there's a parent-child power dynamic, right? So, we hold power. They need us to to eat. They need us for money. They need us to get around. They need us, right?
You need us.
Right. So then we default to sometimes because I said so. Right? Why do I have to do this? Why do I have to give you this information?
Because I said so.
Because I said so. Right? Because my parents made me do it.
Right.
Right? None of these are good whys. Right? Those are not good.
But I don't have time to explain the real why. Just because I said so, move.
Those whys work in the short term while you hold power. As soon as that power dynamic shifts, they don't work anymore. So what you want to do is you want to be able to articulate a why that makes sense within the context. Why do I have to give you all this information about this guy I just met? Well, here's why.
Okay,
right?
yeah.
The reason is because I'm concerned for your safety, and here's things that have happened in the past, and I'm not trying to control everything that you do, but I do need a certain amount of information, right? So now we've had that understanding of why I need that information.
When you just broke it down just right then, like even my energy calmed down. Like it felt right. Like that is why are we so scared to communicate with each other and be articulate? Okay, so don't go anywhere, everybody. When we come back, we're going to get into the why we need to avoid the tunnel vision thing that Len hates. We'll be back. Kathie J. The Colorado Lottery is an official partner of the Kathie J Show. Colorado Lottery, play on. I can't win, Len. I can't win. Welcome back to the Kathie J Show, everybody. I'm learning so much today about myself. I hope you're learning some as well. Len Herstein is back with us. Final words of wisdom, Len. Thank you for being here.
Yes.
Okay, so you're really saying, we've been talking about being vigilant in your life and how it's very important, especially right now when the summer months are here. You don't want to just slide into complacency. You want to actually still be thinking about what's going on in your world and what's around you, any threats that might be happening. You say the problem is we only debrief or deal with something when something bad happened. We don't feel like talking about it when good things are happening.
Yeah, one of our biggest tools as it relates to fighting complacency is what I call debriefing.
Okay.
And debriefing sounds very military, or everybody's seen Top Gun. I saw
yeah,
Top
totally,
Gun,
right. It was so good, wasn't it?
Awesome,
oh, God,
awesome.
just as good as the first one.
Yeah, that's a whole nother show.
I know that.
But, we talk about it in that sense, and people think debriefing doesn't apply in the house, doesn't apply to the family, right?
That's a business kind of
But
term.
the thing is, we do debriefs all the time at home. The reality is, though, we only do it when things go wrong.
Yeah,
right?
You're right.
Why did you fail that test? Why are you late? Why did this happen? Why didn't you clean your room?
Yeah.
We're placing blame, and we're trying to fix what we see as problems. When things go right, we just kind of pat ourselves on the back, high five, and move on. But the reality is there's so much to be learned in the things that go right. And so we want to make sure that we institutionalize this within our family structure, right? So whether that's making sure we have regular family meals, or having a family walk, or just having some time that we know is scheduled daily, weekly, a couple of times a week, whatever it is, that people know that we're going to get together and we're going to discuss what went right and what went wrong, so that we can learn from, hey, what went right but could have gone better.
Even better,
right? What went right but went right by accident.
You never think of having those conversations with your kids. You barely do it at work. When things go right, you high five and keep moving.
Sure.
When things go bad, we got to have a lot of meetings.
Yeah.
But I guess the communication just gets stronger when things are good and you're all talking about whose role you played and why it was good. Right.
I tell people, hey, you want to be Peyton Manning or you want to be Tom Brady? Here we want to be Peyton Manning.
Yeah, right.
You want to be the quarterback that when you win the game, you don't just go off and forget about it. You still are going through the tape. You're still trying to understand what went right. How do we even get better, right?
Okay, so tunnel vision is what?
So we talk about things like, it's funny because we have two different terms, right? So, So tunnel vision is bad, right? Like we get our blinders on and we can't see what's going on.
Exactly.
But somehow being laser focused is good.
It is good.
Right?
You're focused, right?
It's the same thing, though. It's the same thing. We're losing sight of what's around us because we're focusing in on what's in front of us. And that happens all the time at home. It happens all the time.
It does.
We get so focused on who we're talking to or what's happening in the moment that we lose sight of the periphery. And when you lose sight of the periphery, that's where you can start getting complacent in the way that you do things, in the way that you handle things, in the way that you talk.
Yes, and so the periphery would be your kid always being up in their room on their electronics, or you guys not doing things together, right? You're not even paying attention to any of that because you're focused on whatever it is right here.
Yeah, that's an easy example, right? You're having an argument with your spouse or your significant other, and all of a sudden you're so focused on that one person that you forget that there's other people in the house.
Right.
And what they're hearing is influencing them. It's impacting them. It's
I know,
changing their
and
day.
it happened just the other night in my
Did
house.
it?
I know, but we debriefed after, or the
Good.
next day we debriefed to talk
Yeah.
about it. So Len Herstein, everybody, amazing man, amazing author. He lives it. He walks the walk, everybody. Any final good habits that you wish we all would start to adopt a little more?
Well, so habits are great because habits are ways for us to take thinking out of the game. Sometimes thinking hurts us. Sometimes thinking makes us make the wrong decision, right?
Okay, yeah, it does.
Here's an easy example. You walk in the house and where do you put your keys? So I put my keys on the hook at the same, no matter what. But sometimes, and my wife knows I talk about this, so she's fine with it. She's fine with it. But sometimes you might be the type of person who says, "Well, I'm only coming in for a couple minutes."
Yes.
Right? Or usually these things start with just, right?
Right.
I'm just going to do this. I'm just this. And all of a sudden the keys end up somewhere else. And then
Hurry
30
up,
minutes
Len.
later when you didn't leave and you're like, "Well, where are my keys?" You can't
Right.
find them, right? So because we put thought into it, because we're like, "Well, I don't need to put it there because I'm only coming in to go
We're
to
going
the
to
kitchen."
finish this on Facebook Live, everybody. Be vigilant with Len.